Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into a topic that's been generating a lot of buzz, especially among seniors and those receiving Social Security or SSDI benefits. Rumors have been swirling about a potential $9,400 senior stimulus payment, and many of you have been asking, is this confirmed? Who qualifies? When could payments start? And, importantly, is this even real, or is it just another internet myth? Let's unpack all of this together. Before we get started, if you're new here, consider hitting that subscribe button and ringing the bell so you never miss updates on topics like this. For those who've been with us, welcome back. Let's jump right in. Over the past few weeks, social media platforms, email chains, and even casual conversations have been flooded with claims that the U.S. government is preparing to send out a massive $9,400 stimulus check exclusively for seniors. Specifically, the rumors suggest this payment targets retirees, disabled individuals, and others who rely on Social Security, Supplemental Security Income, SSI, or Social Security Disability Insurance, SSDI. The number $9,400 is significant. It's far higher than previous stimulus checks issued during the pandemic, and naturally, people are skeptical but hopeful. So, where did this idea come from? Let's break it down. First, it's important to separate fact from fiction. As of now, there is no official legislation passed by Congress or announced by the White House that approves a $9,400 payment for seniors. The rumors appear to stem from a mix of wishful thinking, misinterpretations of existing programs, and, unfortunately, some deliberate misinformation. However, that doesn't mean there's no truth to the broader conversation. Lawmakers have been discussing ways to address rising costs for seniors, and there are legitimate proposals floating around that could lead to direct payments or increased benefits. The key is understanding the context. Let's rewind a bit. During the COVID-19 pandemic, the federal government issued 3 rounds of stimulus checks to help Americans weather the economic storm. Most individuals received up to $12, $600, and $1,400, depending on the package. These payments were universal for anyone below certain income thresholds, but they weren't tailored specifically to seniors. Fast forward to 2023 and 2024, and the economic landscape has shifted. While the pandemic's immediate crisis has faded, inflation has become a persistent issue. Prices for groceries, utilities, healthcare, and housing have soared, hitting seniors especially hard. Many live on fixed incomes tied to Social Security, which saw an 8.7% cost of living adjustment, COLA, in 2023, the largest in decades, but even that hasn't kept pace with real-world expenses for some. This brings us to the present moment. Advocacy groups like the Senior Citizens League have been lobbying Congress for months to approve a one-time emergency stimulus payment for seniors. Their proposal? A $14 check, a figure that aligns with the third pandemic stimulus to help offset inflation. But wait, that's a far cry from $9,400. So how did we get from $14 to $9,400? The answer lies in a mix of confusion and creativity. Some online posts have conflated the Senior Citizens League's proposal with other bills or existing programs. For example, there's a separate push to expand Social Security benefits permanently, which could mean higher monthly payments over time, but again, not a lump sum of $9,400. Another factor muddying the waters is the way information spreads online. A hypothetical discussion about what seniors should receive, say, $9,400 to cover a year's worth of average medical expenses, can quickly morph into a confirmed policy in the eyes of social media algorithms. Add in a dash of genuine concern for struggling seniors, and you've got a recipe for viral misinformation. That's why it's crucial to verify claims through official channels like the Social Security Administration, SSA, or Congress.gov before getting hopes up. Now, let's address the elephant in the room. Why $9,400? This number doesn't appear in any official documentation, but there's a possible explanation. In 2022, the Senior Citizens League proposed a $1,400 stimulus for seniors, mirroring the third pandemic check, but some advocates argued this wasn't enough. They pointed to data showing that the average senior spends roughly $6,000 annually on healthcare alone. Factor in other rising costs, and $9,400 could be seen as a symbolic number to cover a year's worth of inflation-driven expenses. However, symbolism doesn't equal policy. To date, no legislator has introduced a bill calling for a $9,400 payment, and the White House hasn't endorsed such a plan. But let's play devil's advocate. Suppose Congress did approve a $9,400 senior stimulus. How would it work? Who would qualify? Based on past stimulus programs, eligibility would likely hinge on three factors: age, income, and participation in specific federal programs. For example, recipients might need to be 65 or older, enrolled in Social Security or SSDI, and below a certain income threshold, say $75,000 for individuals or $150,000 for married couples. Payments might be phased out for higher earners, similar to previous stimulus checks. Importantly, SSDI recipients who are under 65 but deemed disabled by the SSA could also qualify, depending on how the bill is written. Another critical detail is whether the payment would be automatic. During the pandemic, most stimulus checks were sent automatically to people who filed tax returns or received federal benefits like Social Security. If a senior stimulus were approved, the IRS and SSA would likely follow the same process, depositing funds directly into the bank accounts linked to beneficiaries' Social Security or SSDI files. This would avoid the need for applications and reduce delays. That said, if you've moved or changed your banking information recently, you'd want to update your details with the SSA immediately to prevent hiccups. Timing is another big question. If a bill were introduced tomorrow, how long would it take for payments to arrive? The answer depends on political will. The pandemic stimulus checks moved quickly because both parties agreed on the urgency. In today's divided Congress, passing any major spending bill is an uphill battle. Even if a senior stimulus gained traction, it could take months of debates, revisions, and votes before reaching the president's desk. After that, agencies would need time to implement the program. Realistically, if a $9,400 payment were approved today, it might not reach mailboxes until late 2024 or early 2025 if ever. Of course, none of this addresses the biggest hurdle: funding. A $9,400 payment to even a fraction of the 70 million Americans receiving Social Security benefits would cost hundreds of billions of dollars. To put that in perspective, the entire Social Security program paid out $1.20 trillion in benefits in 2022. A stimulus of this scale would require new funding sources, likely tax increases or deficit spending, both of which are politically contentious. While seniors are a powerful voting bloc, convincing lawmakers to greenlight such a massive expense during an election year would be a tall order. Now, let's pivot to what's actually happening in Washington. In January 2024, the Senior Citizens League renewed its call for a $1,400 stimulus check for seniors, citing ongoing inflation pressures. This proposal, dubbed the Emergency Seniors Relief Act, has been introduced in previous Congresses but never gained enough support to pass. Meanwhile, other bills aim to reform Social Security itself, such as tying COLAs to a different inflation metric or raising payroll taxes to extend the program's solvency. None of these proposals include a $9,400 check, but they highlight the broader conversation about supporting seniors in uncertain economic times. It's also worth noting that some states have stepped in to provide their own stimulus payments or rebates. For example, states like California, Colorado, and New Mexico issued inflation relief checks in 2022 and 2023, often targeting low-income residents or seniors. These payments ranged from a few hundred to over $1,000, depending on the state. While not federal, these programs show that localized aid is possible and may be a more realistic avenue for immediate relief. But let's get back to the federal level. If you're hearing about the $9,400 payment from a source that claims it's confirmed or guaranteed, proceed with caution. Scammers often exploit trending topics to trick people into sharing personal information. For example, you might receive a call, email, or text claiming you need to verify your Social Security number or pay a small fee to unlock your stimulus payment. Remember, government agencies like the SSA or IRS will never contact you this way. If you're unsure about a message, contact the SSA directly through their official website or phone number. Another red flag is urgency. Scammers often pressure victims to act immediately, threatening penalties or loss of benefits. Legitimate programs give you time to review information and don't demand sensitive details over the phone. If someone asks for your social security number, bank account info, or payment in exchange for a stimulus check, it's a scam. Report it to the Federal Trade Commission, FTC, and protect yourself by hanging up or deleting the message. For accurate updates, bookmark the SSA's official website, ssa.gov, and the IRS's newsroom. You can also sign up for email alerts from trusted sources like AARP or nonprofit senior advocacy groups. These organizations monitor legislation closely and provide unbiased updates without the hype. Now, let's talk about what's more likely to happen in 2024. While the $9,400 stimulus remains a long shot, there are smaller but meaningful changes on the horizon. For example, the annual COLA for Social Security benefits in 2024 was 3.2%, which translates to an average increase of about $50 per month for retirees. While not life-changing, this extra income helps offset rising Medicare premiums and grocery bills. Additionally, the Biden administration has proposed expanding Medicare's ability to negotiate drug prices, which could lower out-of-pocket costs for seniors in the coming years. Another area to watch is SSDI reform. The SSDI trust fund is projected to run out of reserves by 2032, which could force automatic benefit cuts unless Congress intervenes. Lawmakers from both parties agree the program needs adjustments, but proposals range from raising taxes to tightening eligibility. While this doesn't directly relate to stimulus checks, it underscores the importance of staying informed about programs you rely on. If you're feeling overwhelmed by all this, you're not alone. Navigating federal benefits and legislation is complex, but knowledge is power. Understanding how these systems work empowers you to advocate for yourself and others. For instance, if you believe seniors deserve more support, consider contacting your representatives in Congress. Share your story, join advocacy groups, or participate in community efforts to raise awareness. Change often starts at the grassroots level. Before we wrap up, let's recap the key takeaways. First, the $9,400 senior stimulus payment isn't real, at least not yet. It's based on rumors and proposals that have been exaggerated online. Second, while no large-scale stimulus is confirmed, smaller measures like COLAs and state-level aid are providing some relief. Third, stay vigilant against scams and rely on official sources for updates. Finally, use your voice to push for policies that matter to you. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up, it really supports the channel. And if you haven't already, subscribe and hit the bell icon so you're notified when we post new content. We cover everything from Social Security tips to retirement planning, and we'd love to have you join our community. In the meantime, take care of yourselves and each other. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.